The billionaire boss answers a hospital call. She's in ICU. You're her only hope. The phone call came at 2:47 a.m., shattering the silence of Marcus Chen's penthouse like glass against marble. He'd been awake anyway, successful. Men like him rarely slept, reviewing acquisition reports when his private line lit up with a number he didn't recognize. In his world, unknown midnight calls meant crisis, catastrophe, or opportunity. He never imagined it could mean all three. "Mr. Chen?" The voice was female, steady but strained, carrying the particular exhaustion that only exists in hospital corridors at ungodly hours. "This is Dr. Sarah Mitchell from St. Catherine's Medical Center. I'm calling about Emma Rodriguez." Marcus's fingers froze over his keyboard. Emma Rodriguez. The name pulled him back 5 years to a cramped coffee shop in Brooklyn, back before the Forbes covers and TED Talks, when he was just another struggling entrepreneur living on hope and espresso. Emma had been the barista who'd served him free refills when his card declined, who'd listened to his pitch about revolutionizing renewable energy storage while wiping down tables at closing time. She'd believed in him when venture capitalists laughed him out of boardrooms. What happened? Marcus's voice came out rougher than intended. "She's in our ICU. Severe complications from an emergency surgery. Mr. Chen, her insurance lapsed 3 months ago when she lost her job, and we've exhausted all immediate funding options. Without continued treatment, specialized treatment. She has maybe 48 hours." Dr. Mitchell paused, and Marcus could hear the ethical tightrope she was walking. "She had your business card in her wallet. Under emergency contacts, she'd written, 'The man I helped when no one else would.' You're listed as her only hope." Marcus stood, his $6,000 chair rolling silently across hardwood. Through floor-to-ceiling windows, Manhattan glittered like a circuit board, each light representing someone's dreams, struggles, survival. Somewhere in that sprawl, Emma was fighting for her life. "I'm on my way," he said. "And doctor, cost is not a factor. Do whatever it takes." 20 minutes later, Marcus's driver pulled up to St. Catherine's, a public hospital in Queens that served the borough's most vulnerable. The building looked tired, its brick facade weathered by decades of bearing witness to humanity's fragility. Marcus had donated millions to premier research hospitals, his name etched on gleaming pavilions, but he'd never actually set foot in a place like this, where hope wore scrubs stained from double. Shifts and prayers echoed in fluorescent-lit waiting rooms. Dr. Mitchell met him at the ICU entrance, her eyes shadowed with the kind of weariness that comes from caring too much in a system that never cared enough. She was younger than he'd expected, maybe mid-30s, with her dark hair pulled back and a coffee stain on her white coat. "Thank you for coming," she said, leading him through secured doors. "Emma's condition is critical. She came in with acute appendicitis, but during surgery we discovered complications, an underlying autoimmune disorder that's been undiagnosed for years. Her body's attacking itself. And without immunosuppressive therapy and ongoing specialized care, what does she need?" Marcus interrupted, his CEO instincts taking over. "Specifically." Dr. Mitchell pulled out a tablet displaying charts and treatment protocols. "Immediate biologic therapy, at least 6 weeks in a specialized unit with constant monitoring, followed by months of outpatient treatment. We're talking about $350,000 minimum for initial care, and that's if everything goes perfectly. The kind of drugs she needs aren't usually available to patients without premium insurance or a benefactor willing to fund it," Marcus finished. "Consider it done. What else?" The doctor's professional composure cracked slightly. "Mr. Chen, that's incredibly generous, but there's more. Even with funding, we're not equipped for this level of specialized autoimmune care. She needs to be transferred to Presbyterian's Immunology Center. But their waiting list— I sit on Presbyterian's board, Marcus said quietly. She'll have a bed by morning. Can she be moved? If we're very careful, yes. Dr. Mitchell studied him with new curiosity. She must have made quite an impression on you. Marcus looked through the ICU window at the motionless figure surrounded by machines, tubes and monitors, a woman he hadn't seen in 5 years, who'd probably served 10,000 customers since, who likely didn't remember one struggling entrepreneur among thousands. But he remembered her. 5 years ago, I was pitching my company to anyone who'd listen, he said. I walked into her coffee shop one night, ordered coffee I couldn't afford, and when my card declined, she paid for it herself. Minimum wage barista paying for a stranger's coffee. He smiled at the memory. I tried to pitch her my business idea as thanks. Probably sounded like a lunatic. But she listened. Actually listened. Then she said something I've never forgotten. The measure of wealth isn't what you have. It's what you give away. She told me that if my technology could really help people, the money would follow, but not to forget the helping people part. Dr. Mitchell's eyes were suddenly bright. She still says things like that. Last month, one of our young residents was crying in the cafeteria about med school debt, questioning whether she'd made the right choice. Emma, who was there visiting her nephew, bought her lunch and talked to her for an hour. Turned out Emma had started nursing school years ago, but had to drop out when her mother got sick. She never resented it, though. Said caring for her mom taught her that medicine isn't just in hospitals. It's in every act of kindness. Something tightened in Marcus's chest. Can I see her? The ICU was a symphony of beeps and whirs, each machine singing its own song of survival. Emma looked small in the hospital bed, her golden brown skin pale under harsh lights. Dark hair spread across sterile pillows. She was 32, Marcus knew from her file, though illness had hollowed her cheeks, made her seem simultaneously older and younger. Marcus pulled up a chair. This man whose decisions moved markets, whose signature commanded billions, suddenly uncertain what to do with his hands. He'd negotiated with world leaders, stared down corporate raiders, but sitting beside this unconscious woman who'd shown him kindness when he was nobody. This was different. I should have stayed in touch, he said quietly. After the company took off, I got so caught up in scaling, in proving everyone wrong, that I forgot to thank the people who'd been right about me. He leaned forward. But I remember what you said, Emma, about helping people. My company's battery technology, it's powering hospitals in developing countries now, keeping vaccines cold, running ventilators during power outages. We've saved lives, and it started because you told me to focus on the helping instead of just the money. A nurse entered to check vitals, nodding approval at the readings. She's stable, she said to Marcus. That's good. Keep talking to her. They say unconscious patients can hear us. After she left, Marcus continued. I'm going to make sure you're okay. Whatever it takes, however long it takes. And when you wake up, because you will wake up, we're going to talk about how you help people. Really help them? I'm thinking a foundation, maybe. Or a program to assist people who fall through insurance cracks. You'd know better than me what's needed. You've always known. He stayed until dawn painted the windows pink, until Dr. Mitchell returned to coordinate Emma's transfer. The logistics were complex, stabilizing her for transport, securing the Presbyterian bed, assembling the specialist team, but Marcus's resources and reputation moved mountains. By noon, Emma was being settled into a state-of-the-art immunology unit, surrounded by the country's top doctors. Over the following weeks, Marcus visited daily, his $1,000 suits incongruous among the scrubs and worried families. He brought his laptop, working from Emma's bedside, making million-dollar decisions while monitoring her slow improvement. The staff whispered about the billionaire keeping vigil, but Marcus barely noticed. He was watching for signs of consciousness, for the moment those brown eyes would open. It happened on a Tuesday, 3 weeks after that midnight phone call. Marcus was reviewing contracts when he heard a small sound, barely a whisper. Why? Emma's eyes were open, confused and weak but aware. Marcus dropped everything, moving to her side. Hey, welcome back. Marcus? She blinked slowly, processing. The coffee shop guy? But you're on television sometimes. I thought I was hallucinating. He laughed, relief flooding through him. It's really me. And I'm here because someone once told me that the measure of wealth is what you'd give away. You probably don't remember. I remember, Emma interrupted softly. You talked really fast about batteries and saving the world. I thought you were a little crazy. She smiled weakly. Good crazy, though. Did you save the world? Working on it, Marcus said. But first, I needed to save the person who taught me it was worth saving. Tears slipped down Emma's cheeks. The doctor told me about the treatment, the costs, the transfer. Marcus, I can't afford... Emma, you invested in me when I had nothing. Consider this a very late return on investment. He pulled his chair closer. Also, I need a consultant. I'm starting a foundation to help people who fall through healthcare gaps. And I need someone who understands what that actually means. Someone who knows that kindness isn't charity. It's recognizing our shared humanity. The job pays well, includes exceptional health insurance, and starts whenever you're ready. Emma closed her eyes, overwhelmed. Why would you do all this? Marcus thought about that question. About the boy who'd immigrated with his parents at 8, who'd watched them work 3 jobs to survive, who'd built a billion-dollar company but never forgot what desperation tasted like. He thought about the barista, who'd given her last dollars to a stranger because kindness cost nothing and meant everything. Because you reminded me that success without humanity is just numbers on a screen, he said finally. Because you were someone's only hope once, and you didn't hesitate. Because that's what we're supposed to do. Be someone's hope when they need it most. Emma reached out, her hand weak but steady, and Marcus took it. In that sterile hospital room, surrounded by machines that beeped rhythms of survival, 2 people connected by a simple act of kindness years ago made a silent pact. They would build something bigger than business, more valuable than profit, a legacy of helping hands and open hearts. Because in the end, the measure of wealth wasn't really what you had, it was what you gave away. And Marcus Chen, the billionaire who'd almost forgotten that truth, had just been reminded by the woman he'd saved, who'd actually saved him first.